So, in case you've, been living under a rock, don't pay attention to NFL and just randomly watching this video, any sorts of stuff, the Dallas Cowboys suck. And they're in the worst division, and they suck. Okay? Now, there's multitude of reasons for this. The chief one we can attribute it to is Dak Prescott getting injured. Well, I have a plan for the Cowboys, alright? This is GM Colin here. I have a plan for the Cowboys to make smart investments, to use this season. You can't view this as a wasted season. Every season you have an opportunity. So they can use this season, make smart investments, and hopefully come back next season and be ready to contend in this super weak division, which I think they can totally do if they follow my handy dandy guide. So, first off, quarterback has an obvious hole. Andy Dalton is there. Or is he really? I mean, he got whacked pretty hard. So I would not be surprised if concussion protocol or whatever they decided to do. So that leaves their quarterback situation with D'Angelo Hall, maybe? I have no idea what the dude's name is. And there's a reason for that. He was a 7th round pick, I believe. He's nothing special, okay? No offense to the dude at all, but he doesn't exactly look like the quarterback of the future, right? So, what did I do here? At quarterback, with no Andy Dalton, we'll just presume no Andy Dalton, no Dak Prescott. Well, my proposition is that they trade for Mr. Dwayne Haskins, who has fallen out in Washington. Nice little video on Dwayne Haskins, in the description down below. But anyways, they trade for Dwayne Haskins. And the reason they do this is they can probably buy low on him, alright? He's a first rounder, yes. He hasn't been put in a position to succeed, though. And in addition to that, Washington looks like they're more or less happy with Kyle Allen and Case Keenum. Not Case Keenum, freaking Alex Smith. Now, you could say, oh, Kyle Allen's a 5th round pick. I don't know how sure they are on him. Well, Ron Rivera coached him in Carolina, and he obviously thinks he has something in him, or else he wouldn't have traded for him in Washington. So, that brings up that situation. So I believe that you could get Dwayne Haskins at a bargain price and put him into your offense here, okay? It's not exactly awful, right? You have CeeDee Lamb, you have Amari Cooper, you have Ezekiel Elliott. It should be fairly easy for him, in theory, of course, to be decent at least. I mean, if you can invest a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick into him and get out a 2nd or a 1st, then I'd say that's a W right there. I mean, the season's already lost in terms of winning, right? So you need to go, hey, young guys I can buy young guys I can buy low on, right? And Dwayne Haskins fits that mold perfectly. Young quarterback, grab him for a higher pick, or a lower pick, I suppose, and then auction him off for a higher pick. Now, we're going to assume that they do this with Dwayne Haskins and they have a quarterback, right? The next thing I would do is trade Amari Cooper. And my reasoning for this is he's going to be a free agent this offseason. We have at least I haven't heard of any hints that he's going to re-sign with the Cowboys. Now, it doesn't mean he, won't re-sign with the Cowboys. He very likely could. But it would likely be the safer option, especially for this team that is in rebuild mode, to trade Amari Cooper for a pick or a younger player. It looks like the Cowboys fire sale has already started, as today they traded the defensive lineman, Everson, I believe was his name, for a conditional 6th round pick. So they're already going along that path. So let's say that they trade Amari Cooper, right? Just trade all of your older veterans, guys on expiring contracts. Get value for those guys while you still can. Now, next up, we'll come to the draft. Now, this depends on what pick they have and what the people above them decide to do. So let's say that there's some crazy world, right? Some crazy situation where the Cowboys get the number one overall pick and the New York Jets, hypothetically do not. Well, what do you do in this situation? If I was the Dallas Cowboys, I would take a long, hard look at the defense, the offensive line, and just the team as a whole, and say, hey, would I rather have this quarterback, who might be a once-in-a-generation quarterback, or would I rather be able to patch several holes, run it back with Dak Prescott, who is already a very good quarterback, and contend in the NFC East? Now, this is where it gets tricky, because I'm a risk taker. I mean, I suppose I'm not in the GM seat, so I can be a risk taker. But I say trade that pick. Get defensive players, get players that can help you out now. You already have a quarterback of the future in Dak Prescott, assuming he is fully healthy after this season. Gear up and make a run for it. So, that's what they should do if they get the first pick in some situation. If they don't, that makes things more interesting. In that situation, you could trade it, but the value is not going to be there compared to the first pick, all right? Like, you could trade it, let's assume a team wants to say Justin Fields or Trey Lance or something crazy like that, right? You could trade it off or auction it off, but there's no way it's going to have as much value as the first pick, because Trevor Lawrence is what those teams want, right? So, in that situation, he might just be forced to just straight up in that situation, you might be forced to just straight up draft the player that you feel could best fit your team. That's made a lot more difficult now with, the Pac-12 not playing. Oregon hasn't played at all, if I'm correct, which makes it difficult as one of the top prospects. The offensive tackle, his name is like Agadakshi, maybe? I know who I'm talking about, but he's very good offensive tackle. I'll edit it in. But anyways, at that point, it might just be best to, just draft the player that you feel would best be suited to, contribute now. So that's what I think the Dallas Cowboys should do in this situation. They should try and make the best of it. They should not just view this as a hopeless situation and keep running out that 7th round dude. Or, Lord forbid, Andy Dalton. They need to trade Andy Dalton, by the way. Because this is not a team that is ready to contend. This is not a team that is currently built to contend, even in the worst division in football. It's just a dumpster fire right now in the NFC East. And it probably will be next season, unless you see a team gear up. And I think if the Dallas Cowboys play their cards right, they can be that team that gears up and makes a solid run. And yeah, that's what I think the Cowboys should do. So check out all of the videos that I've linked below. We've got Miami Dolphins. We've got Dwayne Haskins, Buffalo Bills. All sorts of good stuff. Check those out. Like and subscribe. Have a good day. Yeah.